Hey everybody, it's Henry and Sandy, and this is Caleb.
Yay.
And Caleb is new to our company, and he is sort of interning with us. And we're so happy to have you. He's great with the kids, and he's a very fine actor and singer in his own right. In fact, he's just taken a small part in Granny, which is going to be really fun. And then he's going to be in Greasy Pole the Musical this summer.
And you're a theater student, right?
That's what I go to college for.
No,
Yep.
Nice.
Where?
I go to Dean College right now.
Mhm.
Well, not right now, but
Where is that?
It's in Franklin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but they do amazing stuff there.
Wow.
Like I just went back up there and they did In the Heights.
Great
And it
show.
was really good.
Mhm.
Good.
Just fantastic actors. The set was great. It's like top notch, like acting.
Wow.
Very cool.
That's
Well,
awesome.
I feel very lucky that we have somebody who is, on the forefront of the next generation of theater artists in America. A lot of people say that theater is dying in this country.
I hope.
And I hope, but it's going to be because of your generation, whether that's continues or not.
Yeah.
Why is theater important to you? Why
So
go
how do
into
we
theater?
How do we get people addicted to theater?
Yeah, we're going to talk about addictions.
Yeah.
But how? Yeah, I mean, how do you? What do you think because this is your future?
Well, because I think theater is life. Theater's an interpretation of life itself, and without theater, we can't really dive into like the creature that's called humanity. Really,
It's a reflection. It's a mirror
it's
of
totally a
of
reflection.
our humanity, right?
Yeah. It's sadness, happiness, like anger.
Yeah.
All emotions can be shown on stage. Violence, and then the people in the audience can relate to that. There is no theater without the audience.
That's right.
Mm.
Love,
Right?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Might as well
Have we
face
had
it, you're addicted to love.
Oh,
Dun,
addicted.
dun.
That's
Yeah,
good.
sorry. Anyway,
That's
we were
good.
talking
Yeah.
about addictions.
Yeah, we're
I'm addicted to
addicted.
theater. I really am. I feel like like you. I think that it's vital to our humanity. It is the way that we used to get the news. People used to go from village to village before there were newspapers and printing presses, and tell the stories. Right? They would get in the town square, and people would come and they would tell stories.
Right.
But even back to our most ancient history, people have been doing theater.
Yeah.
Right? Think about our first ancestors sitting around a campfire. Right? Telling stories of the sky and the woods and all of the things that they've seen around them, and
music they
acting out the
created.
animals that they were hunting, all of those things. Those are theater. And, why is it important now in the 21st century and beyond? And is it worth saving? Is it worthwhile what we're doing?
Mm.
What do you think?
I believe it is. I believe that theater is, like I said, the essence of humanity, and I don't think we should lose it. It's been around forever.
Mm.
It has.
Ancient Greece.
Why do you think it's diminished so much right now?
Well, because of the technology we have. Well,
Right.
theater, I feel like, is always going to be there, but it's adapting. There's theater in TV. TV is a form of theater. Movies are a form of theater. But because of the day and age we live in, people would rather be looking at their phones than looking at a stage. So,
Mm.
Well, and that's the thing about live theater is that, it's different from watching a movie or a television show or something on your YouTube on your phone.
I'd say it's even better.
Well, it is better.
Yeah.
I think it's better because it's in the moment. It's fresh. And, all those other things that you're talking about, you're seeing a one-time recording of a moment that is unchangeable, right?
Yeah.
You're never going to see any other performance of it, right? When you're in the room with the actors, you feel that energy coming at you across the stage, and you're able to give that energy back through applause, or applesauce, as our kids call it.
Applesauce.
Right?
Applesauce.
Like
Right? That you can't get that in a movie theater. You could applaud at the end of a good movie, but
But
the
they're not gonna
actors
hear you.
aren't going to hear you,
No.
right? And one of the things we love to do after a show is a talk back with the audience and the actors, right? How often do you get to meet and talk to the people who just gave you that gift in the moment about their process, about all that stuff. So there are many, many things about live theater that make it a unique art form, and we're losing it, people. I'm telling you, the reality is, and I don't mean to, I want you to be out there doing it so that we can save theater.
Yeah.
Don't be discouraged by the fact that it's really diminished. It's
Climb the
really,
mountain,
really, really
Caleb.
hard.
I will.
Climb the mountain. We're there pushing, moving stones
Be
out of your way.
Yeah, we'll be
Hopefully.
getting ready for you.
But we talk about we were talking about addiction earlier.
Mm.
We have a lot of friends, a lot of family.
I just went to Mohegan Sun, and if you're addicted, that's the place to be.
Gambling.
I mean, there's gambling, smoking, Dunkin' Donuts on every your coffee drinking.
Wait, this is not a commercial
it's
for Mohegan
in-
Sun, by the way.
It's in a
I'm just
mall, so you get
It's in
your
a
shop.
mall?
It's like there's a mall. There's like shopping, so you get your shopping addiction. You get your food. There's like these amazing restaurants.
saying. It's Addiction City.
And
So what?
I don't
What?
know. Are they all? How can we create a plate that's? I hate to put it, but to me, it was all like bad addictions. How can we create a place like that for like good addictions?
Well,
Like, are there any
yeah.
good addictions? Like,
What do
know?
you think about? I mean, you're 20, right?
Yeah.
And so you're seeing the world through a completely different lens than I am at 50, and you are at
30.
30. So I think this is really great, 20, 30, 50, that we have this broad perspective here on the world and on some of the challenges that the world is facing right now. And how do we help? How do we help find solutions for some of these problems? What kind of addictions do you see at 20 in the world that you feel we need to work on? How is that manifesting in your world?
Well, I see phones. Everyone's addicted to their phone.
Technology.
Technology itself, but also like the networks like Facebook. This is going on Facebook, huh? But Facebook.
Love you, Facebook.
A new addiction that has been getting bigger and bigger. Snapchat. Everyone's Snapchatting everything. I'm addicted to Snapchat. I use Snapchat all the time.
Now, isn't it that app where you take a
Or
picture
a video.
or a video and then it's gone?
And then it's gone after 24 hours.
But is it really?
There's probably like a computer base somewhere where
Right.
it's like stored everywhere.
That's the scary part
If
of it,
it's
is
a-
that they tell you that it's gone and you can't find it, but it's being stored somewhere. Somebody's taking down your data.
So if you become president one day and you Snapchatted something like really bad, do you think they'll have it?
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
But there's
Of
a bunch
course.
of like laws being like you can't show it unless like the police force can come with like a warrant and stuff, which they've done before
For Snapchat?
For
Snapchats.
Snapchat?
Yeah.
So they
I don't
are
know.
stored somewhere.
Yeah, they are stored in like a computer bank somewhere.
In an
Well, I don't
airplane
like
hangar,
that.
like an old airplane hangar, and they have anything that you put out there on the internet,
Mhm.
kids and adults, everything that you put out there on the internet is stored somewhere. It doesn't just go away.
Yes,
Every post
like you said,
on Facebook.
because I'm like growing up in this generation. Like I'm from the generation of the internet, and
Yep.
From your life isn't private anymore.
No.
If you have a phone call, a text, put a video online, like we're documenting our lives all the time, every single day.
Yep.
And no other generation had this.
Do you think that's a good thing, or do you
Wow.
think it's a bad thing, or what do you think?
I
about
think
that?
it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that we will be able to document who we are in the 21st century. Years from now, people can be like, this is how everyone acted now and then, and like everything like that.
It's a little scary.
But at the same time, it is scary because we will know so much about ourselves, and it could be used against
We
us
won't, right.
when the robots uprise.
I mean, or the aliens, the,
Yeah.
mothership come.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this is the thing, though. It's like, why are people so addicted to social media and technology and video games and phones and all this stuff, Candy Crush and all that stuff? Are they so distracted by all of those things that we lose sight of our humanity and
Our
our ability
purpose.
to connect to one another
Yeah.
on a human level? Is that replacing? Is that facsimile that has no dead energy in it. It's all dead energy.
Mhm.
It has no life energy in it, right?
Mhm.
A movie, a video, there's no
Just
life in it.
anything.
You're looking at people. You could be moved by the images that you see, but there's no life in it, like we have right now. Like what
Right.
you're witnessing, what we're recording here, is three people exchanging energy.
Yeah.
You can feel the energy in the room. You can sort of, kind of intuit and
So are we just gonna get like sloppy?
I don't know.
Well, I drove by Poseidon's the other day, and I was slow, and there were 3 people in there, and they were all on their phones.
Yeah.
So they weren't looking at each other. They weren't looking at the amazing view out the window on the
Right.
boulevard. So I felt sad for them because they were missing out on.
Were
on
they in
that
a
view.
group or were they all
No,
by
they were
themselves?
all on different tables.
Because like I've seen people
Right.
who are out at dinner
Oh,
on a date,
yeah.
on a
even.
date
No,
and
I
they're
did
just like
too.
take their phones out and start talking.
I know.
That-
That happened when I was away this weekend. I looked at my friends. I'm like, is that the new dating?
So I have a question for you. At 30,
At
with
30.
2 children,
Mm-hmm.
what do you see or what do you want to see for their future? Or are you already seeing traces of addiction in them toward all these things that we're talking about?
Mm.
Are you already seeing the seeds being planted? And are you doing anything or what are you doing to counter that or to prepare them for a world that is already, with our youth, dealing with these addictions? I mean, it's obviously not just in our youth. I see a lot of people my age and older who are addicted to technology and on the internet until 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Seriously. I mean, there are senior citizens who are doing that. So it's across generations. But my concern is specifically for
For the ones raising.
the 4, 5, 6-year-olds right now
Who are
who are
raising
being
the
exposed to
future.
it, who all have iPads, who all grab their parents' phones, or some of them have their own phones.
Right.
Kids that are 9, 10, 11, 12 years old have Facebook accounts.
Well, yeah. I feel, the thing that I feel is, I try to keep my kids home, around me, and, I'm trying to do the homeschool thing. And I get a lot of I want them to be in that social world.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like they're not really being in that social world because now they're turning to their cell phones. I'll see a group of kids and they'll be together, but they're all being on their phones. So it's like, where is the social? What do you mean you want them to be in that social environment? What would that social environment look like? What does that mean? I want to know. I want to know what that means.
That's safe for them too, because I think that in this day and age, I mean, you weren't around in the 70s, but New York, Times Square, 42nd Street is not today what it was in the 70s.
It's more dangerous.
It was very dangerous. It was a lot of prostitution and drugs and filthy, filthy dirty. Now they have people in red jumpsuits sweeping, with it's all Disneyfied.
Wow.
But being on the internet, allowing your children to be on the internet today is like dropping them at 42nd Street in the 70s. I really believe it.
It's amazing.
It's so scary.
So I witnessed, I'm around the youth a lot. I'm around this. So there were 2 girls sitting at the table and they had their computer and they were actually talking to another friend on the computer.
Yeah.
So they were having this network play date, virtual play date.
A virtual play date.
And I'm saying they're 8-year-olds, 9. So I don't know. It's just, I don't know what this is going to look like. I have no idea what to expect from my children.
Do you expect to have kids someday?
Yes, I do. But at the same time, though, when I was growing up, I didn't get a cell phone until I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
I was on the computer a lot, but my mom set times for me to be on the computer.
Yeah.
Even here, in this group, when the kids come up and we do Granny, I see some of them sitting over there just on
their phones.
Yeah.
And they're 8, 10
And
years
we
old.
even have a rule about that. No technology when you're here in the theater.
Yeah.
Right? And yet, they go hide
Yeah.
behind a chair or in a corner to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even theater, which has been such a great social... This is the place to have your kids learn social skills.
True.
Yeah. Even here we're experiencing that addiction in children.
What do the school buses look? Is everybody just on their phone?
Probably.
Like on the way
When
home?
I was-
Get your cell phones out.
When
'cause
you were in
know
high
they're-
school and middle school,
Well, I stopped going on school bus in like 4th grade.
Oh,
But
Yeah.
when I was in 4th grade, like people were talking, everything. Sure, like some people had iPods
Yep.
and listened to music, but now everyone has an
It was
iPhone.
more of a music.
And
it was.
it
I
started with
remember.
music.
It was more of a music avenue.
we had Walkmans, but they weren't allowed in school. They weren't allowed on the
Walkmans.
bus. It was like
Right.
with a cassette tape, and they were kind of clunky. And then you put them on your belt, right? And even the earphones were all kind of puffy, like little powder puffs. And but you couldn't bring those to school. So I think here's what I think, and this goes back to how are we setting the stage for children to become addicted? Right? How are we
Yeah.
doing that as a society? How are we doing that as parents? It's easy to let your kid just go so that you have some time to think and breathe and all that stuff. It was the same in my generation with dropping your kids off, the latchkey thing. Your kids come home from school, they get off the bus, nobody's meeting up at the bus, they have a key to your house, they let themselves in, they make themselves a snack, they sit down in front of the TV. We didn't have the video games, right? So it was all about watching TV after school, the after school
Right.
specials and all that stuff, right? So how are we setting the stage of addiction for our children? And does the addiction to technology translate into addictive behavior in other ways?
Well, like you were
Self-destructive.
like you were saying though, I feel like some parents use technology as like a virtual babysitter,
That's right.
and like you said, like time to breathe. Instead of dealing with the kids and dealing with like how you're supposed to like teach them and stuff, you're just like, oh, I can't deal with you right now. Here, have my phone.
Is it
Play
because
me.
we as parents are
Everything.
addicted? Is it because we as parents just want our TV
I don't think
time?
so. I don't
we
think
want
so.
Our
I think
Facebook time. We
No.
want-
I think that parents are not equipped often to handle the ups and downs of being a parent and the childhood. And you've seen kids play, right? You see it all the time. You see it at home.
Yeah.
And the kids are running around and they're playing superheroes or whatever. And boom, I killed you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. No, mom. And then like 2 seconds later, they're happy and they're running around. They're fine again. They are emotional time bombs, right? They're walking around. They're these walking sense
They're
organs,
emotional
right?
time bombs. They really are.
And that's exhausting. You will learn this. You will learn this.
You're right.
But it is exhausting to be the parent of one child, let alone multiple children of different ages. And so I think it is important to have that downtime, that breath time, that you time to reconnect, engage. Thankfully, I think that corporal punishment, spanking, hitting, beating is less than it used to be. It's still out there. I don't agree with it. I think it's more of the parent's issue than the child's when that happens. But even a vocal beating, right? People will scream at their little children. And we even learned from our kids here in the theater that when they're getting screamed at by their parents, they don't feel loved in that moment. How do we, as parents, take a step back and say, I need to decompress, but at the same time, you can't because your kids need you, right? They are so off the chain, I don't know what the answer is. I guess back in my day, parents who were home with their kids, usually there was a parent home with the kids, usually the mom at those days, and the mom was home doing her thing. She was cooking, she was cleaning, she was having a friend over for tea, and the kids were out in the neighborhood, running around, getting into trouble, skinning their knee, breaking their arm, climbing trees, breaking windows, and getting into all kinds of stuff. But that was the fun of growing up. And you would come home caked in filth. And then Mr. Bubble would happen. This, you'd have this bathtub full of bubble. I mean,
you track the mud in the house.
Yes, track that mud.
You know.
I guess I believe in that. I don't
even know if parents
But then
even
again,
know how to get mad over tracking the mud in the house because that doesn't happen anymore.
right? There's
You
no
know,
mud
it's
in your
like,
house.
What? There's
Fix
no
that
mud.
problem.
There was in my house yesterday
Was
because
there?
they were playing with the chickens and
That's right. See, they have chickens.
they don't
That's
think
so
to
good.
stop and
Wipe their feet.
wipe their feet and
No, but that's a
stop
beautiful
and
part of
beg
childhood.
before you
But
come in the house.
at the same time, I don't know that handles the problem
Yeah.
either. I mean, yes, the fact that your kids are out playing in the sunshine and with chickens is great. As a replacement for playing
They
Angry
weren't
Birds.
even aware.
They're playing with real birds, not Angry Birds, right? And yet, before there were internet, before there was video games, before there was all this other stuff that we're complaining about, addiction still happened. Right? People still became addicted since the beginning of
Yeah, it was
humanity.
like the penny candy store. They'd go get penny candy, and
That's right.
You
Or they
know,
would
I
grow
mean-
up to become heroin addicts, or
Right.
they would grow up on, dope and opium and drugs and booze, So I don't know that there's an easy answer to any of this. But as Talk It Up More is about, it's really just about having the conversation, getting it out on the table
right,
so that we can
yeah,
think
Just
about
to
these
think
things
about
as a
it
community
together.
because it really does take a village.
Yeah.
And it does take all of us putting our heads together.
I
That's
just
why we're
wonder: Are there
you know,
any good addictions out there? Is there anything
Exercise.
good?
People can be addicted
Exercise.
to exercise.
Yeah, but can that be a bad thing too?
Well,
Can it take
with
over?
everything though, like always too much of something's a bad thing.
That's right.
True.
So
It takes time away. People become obsessed. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. Exercise is important, but as an addiction, how are we defining addiction? I guess is the first.
Yeah, that's a good question.
What's
some-
addiction?
What's
What
the
is it?
Merriam-Webster definition of addiction?
Like an escape.
Let's find it. It's the
A way
21st
to-
century.
a
We
way
can
to-
use
Yeah.
technology in a good
And
way.
this-
Is
Yeah,
it like
so-
a way to escape from your finding I don't
Addiction,
know.
the fact or condition of being addicted to a particular substance, thing, or activity.
Ooh. I don't
Well,
like
now
how
what's addicted?
I don't like how they use addicted
Yeah. So
in the
so what's
description.
Addict, a person who is addicted to a particular substance, typically an illegal drug.
addicted? So just look up addicted.
Addicted. Physically and mentally dependent on a particular substance and unable to stop taking it without incurring adverse effects.
Okay.
Enthusiastically devoted to a particular thing or activity. Like being like computer games and
Yeah.
all that stuff, right?
Devoted to a
I always like to
thing.
look at where the origin. It's mid-century, from the obsolete addict, bound or devoted to someone, because relationships can be addictive too. Yeah, so it means bound. You're bound to something. So if you don't get that substance, or if you don't get that experience,
There are
that hit,
withdrawals.
right? You have symptoms. You
Withdrawals,
have withdrawal symptoms, and those can be as destructive as the addiction or as the addictive behavior. And there are people who exhibit addictive behavior but aren't addicted to a substance.
Yeah, because to be addicted, there has to be withdrawal, as the definition was.
Mhm.
So, like, I feel like we use the definition addicted without really knowing exactly what it means. Because, like, let's say the substances, like you can get addicted to heroin, you can get addicted to cocaine, because there are drawbacks. But are there drawbacks to being addicted to on the internet? Like, what will happen when you're not on the computer? For me personally, I do kind of like freak out whenever I lose my phone underneath the couch. I'm like a minor heart attack.
Yeah.
You're like, where is it? Where is it?
Right.
Yeah.
How many people have
Yeah.
experienced that,
True.
or when you take a video game away from a child,
Oh, right.
right? Or turn off the TV.
Mhm.
See, when a child is sitting in front of a TV or a box of some kind, the magic box, right? You see their eyes glaze over. Sometimes they drool. There's like drool, right? And their jaws drop, and they're like. And then inside, what's happening is that they're winding up like a spring. They're winding up tighter and tighter and tighter. There's no release of energy. It's all in them. It's all tightening and tightening and tightening. And then you turn it off, and it's like, pow! And they bounce off the walls, and they scream and have a fit. Right? Isn't that true? So be mindful of all of that. We got to finish this up. It's been 25-minute conversation.
Minutes.
I know, but
How
see,
about
this
being
is
addicted to life?
this is why we have to have these conversations in person. This is why we're starting a parent think tank. And a parent think tank is not just for parents. It could be former parents, like myself, or future parents, like Caleb here, are welcome to come and have
Or
these
active
conversations,
parents.
or active parents like Sandy Jones, right? So come get involved in our parent think tank, and the schedule is going to depend on you. I know that especially if it's a two-parent family, it's really hard. The expense of having a sitter to come to an event like that might be tough. So I was thinking about having one for moms and one for dads, or just have a couple of different ones every month that people can switch off.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in Parent Think, then please contact us at info@northshorefolk.org. There will be more information on our website, northshorefolk.org. If you'd like to be a guest here on Talk It Up More, thank you, by the way, for guesting
No
today,
problem.
last minute. And then contact us. We would love to hear what you have to talk about. If you'd like to respond or join in on the conversation around parenting and addiction, then please let us know. You can do a video response, or you can do a written response, either Facebook or info@northshorefolk.org. So that's it for us. We'll see you next week on Talk It Up More.
Bye.
Bye.